So let me start with why you should register with SEBI. Uh, the Investment Advisor 2013 means that you all the people who are offering any kind of advice have to first register with SEBI. So it's not that there is a benefit or there is no benefit or things like that. If you are giving any kind of advice, you are supposed to register with SEBI. So, having said that, the investment advisor regulation is a regulation which is asking you to follow a certain standard in terms of the education, experience, certification, and in terms of certain maintenance of certain documentation and things like that. So, basically, it puts a high watermark for advisors to follow. And RA regulation also wants you to be a fee only advisor. So, if you are registered as RIA with SEBI, it means that there is a particular quality standard which you are following. There is that assurance from the customer point of view that they are dealing with a fee only advisor, and they can be assured of the quality of advice that they are getting. So that is the advantage. But let me be realistic. Today, a lot of people are not aware about the concept of fee only advice, and a lot of people are not aware about SEBI RAs particularly. So there is a bit of education that we ourselves have to do, and yeah, I mean there are a lot of media participants who are also doing that work. So I think in years to come, RAs will become one of the important participants in the advisory space. These are early days, but going forward, RAs will play a significant and pivotal role in advisory space. A lot of people who come to us for advice tend to have certain goals, like they want to buy a house, they want to probably go on a vacation, they want to ensure their children's education, things like that. So those are important, but the only problem is when we ask for the goals, they say these are the goals, and to some extent they have taken some insurance policy, they have done some PPF and some investments, vagera, but there is no real direct connect between the goal and what they are doing today. So, whereas, I mean, randomly investing money for hoping that everything will fall in place is not the way how we need to actually run our lives. So, the most important thing that we have to sensitize as advisors is to make the client aware about what the goals are, what investments need to be made, what investment they are making today, and whether those investments are going to further achievement of the goals or not. So, it's important for advisors to actually help clients get in touch with what those goals are. In some cases, some of these people actually miss out on significant goals, and some people underestimate, some people overestimate certain goals. Like for example, some people say that okay, fine, for my son's education or daughter's education, I put aside maybe 20 lakhs. That may be a significantly lower figure if we also take into account graduation and post graduation, even in India. So, I mean, there is a touch of realism that we advisors bring to the table on those fronts. So, before starting the advice, before actually creating a financial plan, we talk to the clients, find out what their significant goals are, find out what the amounts they have invested or they are proposing to invest, and give them the feedback that this is what you actually need to do to achieve those significant goals that you have. See, as I mentioned before, RIA stands for a fee only advisor. RIA is a fiduciary. This part I did not mention last time. See, a fiduciary is somebody who has client interest and puts client interest above everything else, including their own interest. So, the most important thing as far as an RIA is concerned, it is a conflict free advice. So, it is absolutely client centric, and if there is any residual conflict of interest, we declare that and we make a clean breast of that to the client. So, from that point of view, the client can be absolutely sure that the advice that they are actually getting is in their best interest. So, that is the most important difference between a typical IFA and RA. So, I'm not trying to say that IFA is giving improper advice and RA is giving a proper advice. That is not where I'm coming from. The most important thing is, see, by regulation, in the case of an RA, it is fee only advice. We are taking on the role of a fiduciary. Legally, we are fiduciaries. So we have to act that part. We actually have to play that role as client centric advisors and being conflict free. Whereas in the case of IFA, they represent a principle. It may be a mutual fund, it may be a life insurance company, or it may be some other market participant. So they are actually representing some other institution. So their interests are aligned with their principle, not necessarily with the client. So that is where the difference comes between an IFA and an RIA, and that is probably the reason why the client should actually pay a fee in the case of an RIA. Also, another reason is, RIA does not get any commission from any other party, and the only source of remuneration for an RIA is only the fee. So that is how the RIA can be beneficial from the client point of view.